This is the Motion EVO Eco Lite, and it's actually been available in Europe for a while, but it's coming to the United States, and it's part of the new EVO line. A lot of the Motion bikes up until now have been Motion Neo, and the big difference is this battery pack. And you can see it's just really well integrated, very sleek, and probably the coolest thing about it is that now you can charge the pack on the bike. You don't have to actually take the pack off, which was something I complained about before because, the finish is so nice. You take this off and set it upside down, you can scratch it and stuff. So it's cool that they did that. I'm gonna go ahead and just show you what it looks like to take off right now since we're on the subject. Pop the key in like that, twist, and it just pops up like that. You can see it sits in there and sort of locks at the top. There's a new plug socket right there. It looks a little bit different. It's more of a circle. And they've got this cool light up battery indicator built right into the battery. So this one uses the same sort of lithium ion cells, maybe lithium, manganese, cobalt, and is 36 volt, 8.8 amp hours. So some of the newer Motion bikes are having larger batteries, like 36 volt, 12 amp hour, but this is still pretty solid, keeps it lightweight. This bike overall weighs about 52 pounds. Obviously it's a step through. It's sort of a commuter style bike with the rack and the fenders. Motion has a couple of bikes like this. They've got the Neo City and the Neo Street, and this replaces the Street. It's got the 26-inch rims, a little bit smaller. It's gonna sort of bring the bike down to the ground, make it even easier to step on, a little bit of a narrower frame. So this is a great bike for someone who might not be so tall. It's a little bit more maneuverable with these smaller wheels, and yeah, they work pretty well. They've got this nice reflective sidewall here, and the bike just rides very smoothly. It's well put together. Like you can see the fenders, it's got two reinforcement arms right there. There's even an extra sort of threaded eyelet here for if you wanted to add a front rack, something like that. The brakes on it are a little bit more basic. They're just rim brakes, but they do provide great stopping power on the front and rear wheels and sort of dissipates the heat well. Some of the higher end bikes for off-roading and stuff have disc brakes, and those are going to perform better if you get wet and get dirt and debris on your wheels. But again, these have been working great on bikes for decades, and they work well here. The fenders, again, just sort of plastic, but well reinforced with these sort of quick adjustments here, so you can sort of tighten and move them if they're rubbing. Same with the rear, two reinforcement arms, nice rubber flap. And then the rack itself is actually a little bit burlier than a standard rack. You can see the tubing is a little bit thicker, but it's not so thick that a standard pannier or bag won't work. It was a good choice, and they've got this extra arm here that keeps your panniers from getting caught in your spokes. So a lot of attention to detail, including this nice chain guard, and they've even got a little bit of a plastic lip to just keep the chain well protected from any curbs that you might encounter, or brush, that kind of thing. The one thing that isn't super great are these pedals. They're just plastic. They don't give you a whole lot of platform to step on, but they do have reflectors built in. That's probably one of the few complaints that I do have. This bike I think is around $2,400, and I think you get a lot of value for that money just because there's so many features built in, and it's got this nice padded seat, and it looks beautiful. The motor's black to match. You got these nice, kind of ergonomic grips, triggers on left and right. It uses Shimano Tourney 21 speeds, so there's seven rings, 7 cogs on the rear cassette, 3 rings on the front right there, as we were looking at earlier. So that's the bike aspect of it. You hop on this thing, it's quiet, it's smooth, and the hub motor freewheels, so there's really no resistance that you're going to have to deal with. When it is time to go electric, we already mentioned the 36 volt, 8.8 amp hour lithium battery pack. Well, the motor on this is a 350 watt geared design. Okay, so being geared, it's a little bit smaller, you get great torque, and it freewheels, so there's no resistance. This is a good active motor style for someone who is going to be pedaling along and wants that reduced weight. They also do well spreading the weight out on this bike. So we got the weight of the motor in the rear, the weight of the battery more towards the front, and kept fairly low. So it handles very well. And there is that, it's like it's sort of a dynamo on the front here, and you can see it sort of wired in to the lights. So as you're riding, the front light will work and the rear light works, and it actually stays lit for a while when you're done. They call those standing lights, I guess. So if you're standing at a stoplight or parking this, you're still lit up for safety. Oh, there's even some bumpers. Yeah, so the seat is very comfortable, as I mentioned earlier. The reason this is the EVO Eco Lite is because it doesn't have a suspension fork. And that keeps it a little bit lighter weight, and it's also just, you know, more affordable option. So yeah, that is the basic overview. And in terms of actually operating this bike, I like that it's got this nice removable display panel. You push down on that lever, it slides off, easy to stick in your pocket or whatever for safekeeping. If this was parked at a rack, people might not even know that it was electric. It's fairly handsome. It just, yeah, and it rides smooth and quiet. So definitely a higher quality product than some of the other offerings out there. Pop the display on, basically just hold down the power button for a few seconds and it lights up. You've got your speedometer here, you've got your trip distance, your battery capacity indicator right there, and then you use the plus or the minus to cycle through different levels of assist. And you can also use the power button to change miles per hour, trip, yeah, kilometers, total. Kind of cool. So right now we're in no assist, and one of the things I like about this bike is that it does have a cool kickstand, but it also has throttle only mode. So if I twist this, the bike just goes. You know, that's sweet, because sometimes if there's a puddle, you don't want to pedal, you just want to use the throttle. So, you know, if I do that right now, really smooth, you just take off. The motor's pretty quiet. Very, very satisfying. So that's the throttle mode. Now if I change it to one of these assist levels, there's Eco, Standard, Sport, and Boost. The higher you go, the more power you're using, the faster you're gonna drain your battery. Okay, so they've done some adjustments here so that Eco's even gentler, because on some of the older Easy Motion bikes like 2013, people were saying it was kind of almost too much power in Eco, and they want to conserve the battery more. So they've adjusted that. The bike uses a torque sensor, so that's that big silver metal plate there, and it senses how hard you're pushing down on the pedals, and it responds in kind. So you do have to actively pedal this bike to activate pedal assist, but it's not jerky. As you pedal and as you push the bike kind of catches up with you. So I'm going to do Eco real quick, just gently. Not bad. I'll just take it up to Boost. A little bit of a delayed cutout. You know, it keeps on boosting you after you're pedaling for a second there, but the way it comes on is very smooth. The other cool thing about this bike is that, you know, it sort of adheres to the United States law that says 20 mile per hour, motor only. That's the top limit on the bike. But in pedal assist mode, you can actually pass that. So I was just pedaling, you know, actively. You're definitely contributing, but I was getting up to like 25 miles per hour with this, sort of a speed pedelec mode. And that's neat, you know. So the motor isn't measuring the speed of the bike at 20 and cutting out. It's basically using a formula that says, okay, for a 160-pound adult, if we were only using the motor, taking them to 20 miles per hour, here's what we would cut out at. But if you're contributing, it lets you go a little faster. So that's kind of neat. The one downside to this setup is that I can't use the throttle when I'm in pedal assist mode. It's only pedal assist. So again, at 0, down here, no assist, well, I got throttle. Any of the assist levels, only assist. So it's kind of one or the other. All in all, really great bike. I'm a fan of the Easy Motion stuff. I feel like they're, you know, refining it with the different battery design that you can charge without taking off. That's great. There's still no water bottle braze-ons here, you know, and I feel like they could have put them right here. you could have had a nice water bottle cage, but they just didn't. I suppose you could, get a bag on the rear, or maybe add your own, aftermarket, like clamp-on water bottle cage. That's something I'd like to see in the future. And, other than that, it's just a solid, smooth, good-looking bike from a company that offers pretty good warranty. So, yeah, that's the Motion EVO Eco, sort of the light version. For the full written review on this with specs and pictures and stuff, check out ElectricBikeReview.com. I'll see you there.